There's a type of person who can read a room in seconds. Not just what people say, but what they're hiding. They notice the fake smiles, the forced tone, the tiny cracks in someone's behavior that no one else sees. Most people call it intuition, intelligence, a rare gift. But what if that ability isn't a gift at all? What if seeing through everyone slowly isolates you, drains you, and turns your own mind against you? In this video, we're going to break down the psychology behind people who see what others don't. Why their brain is wired to catch hidden patterns, microexpressions, and emotional inconsistencies in seconds. But more importantly, we're going to uncover the 3 psychological traps that come with this ability. The ones that silently lead to overthinking, isolation, and emotional exhaustion. And by the end, you'll understand how to control this awareness instead of being controlled by it. To understand why some people see what others miss, we need to remove the idea that this is something mystical. From a neuroscience perspective, this ability comes from a combination of rapid pattern recognition and a process known as thin slicing. The brain's capacity to make fast, accurate judgments based on very small amounts of information. Imagine the average mind like an audience watching a play. They focus on the actors, the dialogue, the surface of what's happening. But a highly perceptive mind works differently. It doesn't just watch the stage. It automatically scans behind the scenes. It notices the slight delay in someone's response, the tension in their posture, the subtle mismatch between what's being said and what's actually being felt. Human communication operates on 2 levels, verbal and non-verbal. Most people rely almost entirely on words, but highly perceptive individuals are wired to detect what lies beneath those words. They pick up on microexpressions, tiny, involuntary facial movements that reveal true emotions in a fraction of a second. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a voice that shifts slightly under pressure, a fleeting look of discomfort that disappears almost instantly. Their brain constantly compares these signals, and when something doesn't align, it flags it immediately. It's not overthinking. It's automatic. Just like tasting something and instantly knowing it's off, their mind detects incongruence without effort. But what makes this ability even more powerful and more dangerous is what happens next. It doesn't stop at detecting that something is wrong. It starts asking why, and in that moment, they don't just see the mask. They begin to understand the fear, insecurity, or intention behind it. But this is where the real problem begins. Because seeing the truth doesn't make life easier. It makes it heavier. And over time, people with this level of perception fall into 3 psychological traps that slowly drain them. The first is what we can call the Cassandra Effect. In Greek mythology, Cassandra was given the gift of seeing the future, but cursed so that no one would ever believe her. And that's exactly what happens here. These people see things early, fake intentions, hidden motives, emotional inconsistencies. But when they speak up, they're misunderstood. They're labeled as negative, paranoid, or overly critical. Because the reality is, social life is built on subtle illusions. Politeness, small lies, emotional filters. They keep things running smoothly. But when someone sees through all of that, they disrupt the system. They don't expose lies. They expose comfort. And people don't reward that. They reject it. So over time, these individuals learn something painful. Being right doesn't mean being accepted. And slowly, they stop speaking. But silence doesn't solve the problem. It just leads to the second trap, the detective trap. When you can't trust what people show on the surface, your mind starts searching for what's underneath all the time. Nothing feels simple anymore. A compliment isn't just a compliment. A delayed reply isn't just someone being busy. Everything becomes a signal, a possibility, a hidden meaning waiting to be decoded. And at first, it feels like control. Like you're protecting yourself from being fooled, but it turns into something else. Overthinking, constant analysis, a loop that never shuts off. You start trying to predict outcomes, prevent betrayal, stay one step ahead emotionally. But the cost is high. You don't get surprised anymore, but you also don't get peace. Because your brain is always on guard, filtering reality through worst-case scenarios. And the more you look for proof that something is wrong, the more your mind finds it. Not because it's always there, but because you've trained your perception to see it. And then comes the third trap, the emotional burden. This is the quietest one, but also the heaviest. Because sometimes, seeing the truth doesn't mean you can do anything about it. You notice the unhealthy relationship your friend is in. You see the manipulation, the imbalance, the slow damage being done. But you also know they're not ready to hear it. You see the cracks in situations where everyone else sees happiness. You recognize patterns that point to outcomes no one else is prepared to face. And so you stay quiet, you smile, you play along, not because you don't care, but because saying the truth would isolate you even more. And carrying all of that, unspoken, unresolved, starts to build pressure inside. You feel empathy for people, but at the same time, frustration with the masks they wear. You understand everyone, but no one really understands you. It's like standing in a crowded room, completely aware of everything happening beneath the surface, and realizing you have no place to put what you see. So the question becomes, what do you do when your mind won't stop seeing the truth? When you can't unsee the patterns, the contradictions, the hidden layers behind everything people say and do? Because trying to shut it off doesn't work. You can't force awareness to disappear. But here's the shift. The goal is not to see less. The goal is to stop reacting to everything you see. The way out of this isn't to shut your mind down. It's to train it. Because this level of awareness can either drain you or guide you, and that depends on how you respond to it. The first principle is strategic ignorance. This means learning to see everything, but not react to everything. Just because you notice something doesn't mean it's your responsibility to act on it. You might clearly see someone being fake, manipulative, or inconsistent. That's information. But the real question is, does it affect your life directly? Does it impact your decisions, your path, your peace? If the answer is no, then you let it pass. You don't engage, you don't correct, you don't expose. You observe and move on. Because the moment you feel the need to fix every truth you see, you turn your awareness into a burden. But when you treat it as a tool, it starts protecting your energy instead of draining it. The second principle is accepting social masks. One of the biggest sources of frustration for perceptive people is expecting total authenticity from everyone. But the reality is, most people wear masks not to deceive, but to protect themselves. Insecurity, fear of rejection, past wounds, all of that hides behind behavior that looks fake on the surface. That confident person might be overcompensating. That distant person might be afraid of getting hurt. When you begin to understand this, something changes. You stop seeing masks as something to tear off and start seeing them as something to respect. You don't need to expose people to understand them. Sometimes, the highest level of awareness is seeing the truth and choosing compassion anyway. And the third principle is allowing uncertainty. This is what frees you from the detective trap. You have to accept that not everything needs to be analyzed, predicted, or controlled. Even if your intuition signals that something might go wrong, that doesn't mean you have to live as if it already has. You can notice the risk without letting it consume the present. Because if you try to eliminate every possibility of being hurt, you also eliminate your ability to feel anything real. Trust, connection, peace. They all require a level of uncertainty. It's a trade-off. And the moment you accept that, your mind starts to quiet down. You're no longer trying to win every mental scenario. You're choosing to experience reality as it happens. If you've always felt like you see more than other people, like you can read between the lines, notice what doesn't match, feel what others try to hide, then understand this. You're not broken. You're aware. But awareness without control becomes a weight. And the moment you learn to manage it, it becomes power. So now I want to ask you something. Out of these three traps, which one are you stuck in right now? Are you the one who sees the truth but stays silent? The one who overthinks everything? Or the one who feels the emotional weight of what no one else notices? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped you understand your own mind a little better, share it with someone who might need it too. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep exploring the deeper side of psychology. I'll see you in the next video.